Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be building this using HTML and CSS. Now, I found this design on Dribble. So this is the design, and this was by Senkova. So shout out to her for this amazing work. Now, I'll add the link of this down in the description so you guys can check it out yourself. And also, I'll add a link to her Dribble account so that you can go and follow her. Now she has some amazing work, so make sure you guys check her out. And now this website's source code would also be in the description, so you guys can download and play with that. With that being said, let's get started. And before starting, if you're new to the channel and if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell so that you're always notified whenever I upload a video. And also make sure to add specific comment regarding what you liked about this video and why you like this design and why you disliked it as well if you dislike it. And yeah, there's that. So with that being said, let's get started and let's build this. So here I am in my VS Code, wherein I have this folder which says landing 18. And I have created a folder with the name of images, wherein I am having these images, arrow image, the images that we're going to be using for the article, and then the cover image. And then I have index.html file and style.css. Now in the index.html file, I have a bit of roller template generated, wherein I have written Planet Desert as the title. And then in my style.css, I have imported the fonts, which are Anton for the heading and then Poppins for the rest of the content. And I have also opened this file in my browser. Okay. Now, first let's link our CSS. And then we'd need the CDN for remix icons. So we're going to search remix icon CDN.js and we're going to hit enter. The first URL that opens, or the first link that pops up, you're going to click onto that, and then you're going to open this and click onto this remixicon.min.css, and you're going to paste it here. Okay, now let's see the structure of the website that we need to build. So this is the image. So what we can do is this entire website, this images section, we can have it inside of a main tag just like usual. And then for the navigation, we're going to have a nav, which is going to be holding everything from this to this. Okay, this top section basically. And then we're going to have another section tag to hold everything else. Now this bottom section, this is what we're going to be calling as article. This article or this bottom section would be placed absolutely. So we're going to have this main, we're going to have this navigation, nav, and then this container, basically the section, and then we're going to have this article. Now this article would be positioned absolutely in respect to this main element. Okay, and now you can see that this have these dots, which are kind of indicators in sliders. So we won't be building slider, we just will be building this as a landing page. So this part we're skipping. Now the next thing is that in this section we're gonna have two sections or two divs basically, one for the text content and then one for the image. And then in this article section we're gonna have three divs, one for this image and then one for this text and then one for the social icons. And for the navigations, we can have a logo, three nav links or anchor tags, and then three nav icons. Okay, and then this is gonna be the menu. So let's start. We can have a main, we can have a nav for the top section, we can have a section for this section, and then article for the bottom, kind of like the footer. And then in the navigation, we're going to have logo, nav icons for these icons, Now this would be specific, so we're gonna add cart, and then we're gonna have a menu for this. Now we still need to add these. So in our logo, first let's add the icon, this cactus icon. So you can get that from Remix Icons. And then you want to add the span, which says planet, break, and then we have desert, so that this planet and desert come in each different lines. Then an anchor tag linking to home, which is this current page. And we're going to set a class of active, since this has some different styling. And whenever you go to a different page, you want to have this effect on those specific pages. So we're going to set a class of active. And then two more, which says catalog, and then this sale percentage. We're going to save. Let's see. Okay. Now for the nav icons, we're going to have first for the search, second for the user, third with 3 and shopping cart icon. And for the menu, we have this. Okay. Now in the section, first we have the text section and the image section. In the text, we have a span which says plants, and then an H1 which says cactus, and then a P tag when we have the content, wherein this cacti and then this succulent or succulents, these two are wrapped inside of strong tag. Now we have button which says shop now, wherein we have span with this arrow right icon. Okay. Now for the image, we'll just add the cover image. Also, we'd need the image for the arrow. So we're going to add that in the text, in the section element itself. And we're going to give it a class of arrow down. Now, since the image is white, it is not visible. Now in the article, we're going to have the article image, then description, and then the social media icon links. In the image, we're going to just add the image. In the description, we're going to add 2 paragraphs. And then in the social, we're going to add 3 anchor tags with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now keep in mind that this Facebook and Instagram are lined, whereas this Instagram is filled. Now the reason for that is because if you look here, this Instagram or this Twitter icon, so we can set a color to this icon, but if we have this Twitter icon lined, where is it? Let's save this first. Yeah. Okay. So this is how the Twitter looks. But if we have this here as this, so we won't be able to color this interior stuff. Okay. We'll just be able to color the kind of like the border of the icon. So we need fill for this. Okay. So we're done with our HTML. Let's start with the CSS. So for CSS, first, let's remove the margin and padding, and let's set the border box as the box sizing. And then in the body, you're going to set height and width, 200 viewport height and 100 viewport width. And we don't need any overflow, so we're going to remove that. And then we're going to set the font family as Poppins. Now, since we want the main to be at the center, we're going to set display flex. And then we're going to add a background. So I'm just going to be copying the background from here. So you can use this extension named as Colorzilla. Copy this and then also this. Okay. We're going to add linear gradient. We're going to set this this gradient from left to right, basically to right. And then we're going to set the 2 colors. that we want to kind of blend in from left to right. First is this, which is this corner, and then this color, which is on the right side. Let's save and let's see. Okay. Now, one thing that we want to do is all the anchor tags that we have in our website or in the page, we're going to set text decoration to none. You see that the underlines are gone. And then what we want to do is we want to set this color to inherit and save. Meaning that oftentimes, say you have a div wherein you have some anchor tags. Now, if you add a color to the div, that specific color doesn't get applied to the anchor tag. You need to come down to the anchor tag and then you need to specify the color in this anchor tag itself. Okay, but if you add here as color inherit, what this would do is this would basically inherit the color that is being applied onto the parent itself. Okay, so this is really helpful. You can add these two lines and then wherever you see the anchor tag, so if you add the color to the parent, this would get applied to the anchor tag directly without you needing to change it in the anchor tags. Now in the main, we're going to set height to 95% and width to 85%. Okay. And then overflow to hidden. And now we also need to center this. Let's add margin auto. So this would now come at the center. Now let's add a background so that we can have a distinguished difference between the background and the foreground, basically the body and then the main content or the main element. We can add linear gradient, copy the color. Okay. Again, we want this from left to right. We have the first color, second, third. Now this third color we're going to be wanting to repeat 2 times. And then we have our fourth color. Okay, now we want box shadow, 5 pixel, 10 pixel, and 50 pixels of this RGBA value. Okay. Now you want to add display flex and flex direction to column. Since these nav, section, and article would be stacking on top of each other, or at least this nav and section would be stacking on top of each other. So we need flex as column, and then this article would be placed absolutely, so we do not need to worry about that. And then since that article is inside of main, we need to add a position relative. Since we're going to be positioning that absolutely, so we need this main as a reference for that article. I'm going to target the nav. I'm going to give it width of 100%, display flex, height of 90 pixels, align items center, and gap of 20 pixels. Okay. In a color of white. Now, as soon as I add white to nav, you'd see even the anchor tags are now white. You may ask why? Because we have these 2 lines of code, or at least this specific property. Font size 13 pixels, logo with display flex and align items center, gap of 10 pixels with this font size and also font weight to bold, margin left of 50 pixels, margin right of 100 pixels, and then the icon in the logo, we're going to increase the font size, and now we're going to target all the anchor tags. We're going to give padding inline of 30 pixels. Now one thing you would notice that, so if you look here, this height 90 pixels, you'd see that this isn't actually 90% height. Now the reason for that is because we have an article and also a section. So as long as we don't specify the height for the section and also the article, this wouldn't show the exact 90 pixel height. So if you want to see the exact one, then if we remove these 2 sections, this article and this, okay, now you can see. All right. Let's add position relative and then font weight of 500. Now we're going to target the before pseudo selector. Reason for targeting the before pseudo selector is because we need these dots. I'm going to set content to hidden, since this is, without this you won't be able to generate an empty div kind of thing. And then width 6 pixels, height 6 pixels, since this is going to be a perfect circle, so we need width and height same. And then border radius of 50% with the background of white. Also position relative, left minus 10 pixels and top 50%. Transform, translate Y, or maybe even the X bit. Okay. Now you can see these dots, but we do not need the dots for this first one. So we can target the active. Well, in this case, this is the active one. The first one is the active one, basically. So you can add display none. This before would get removed. And then this active also needs to have a color of this yellowish color. And then this active needs to have an after element, which has content of blank, set to absolute, width. Now this width we need to calculate. This width would be 100% minus, let's say, 50 pixels. And then height of 10 pixels and a background of this yellowish color. Let's add top minus 40 pixels, left 50%, and then transform, translate minus 50%, and also a bit of border radius. Now we're going to target these nav icons. Now these nav icons needs to be placed on the right. So what we can do is, first let's bring these two back. And here in the sail, we can set margin right to auto. The sail. So now these would get pushed to the right. Now this nav icon, we're going to set a padding. And for the icons, font size 18 pixels. I'm going to target the card, background this. Border radius of 20 pixels. We're going to target the menu. We're going to give it width and height. A display grid and place content center, since we want the icon to be at the center. Font size of 25 pixels. And a background of dark green sort of. And a margin left of 20 pixels. We have this capping. Now we're going to target the section. We're going to give it height. Now we're going to calculate the height. Since for the nav, I think we gave 90. Yeah, we have 90 pixel as height. So this one needs to be 100% minus 90 pixels. We're going to give it width of 100%. Let's remove this article for now. Okay. You can add display flex, and then we're going to target the image and also the text, basically these two sections, this one and this one. Okay, and we're going to give height to 100% to both of those. I'm going to target text, padding of 50 pixel. Now the reason for having 50 pixels of padding is because we want some gapping from top and bottom, but then from the left and right we need to have this, you see this alignment that we have with the logo. So initially we had this logo have a margin left of 50 pixels, so we need this specific straight alignment. So we need padding of 50 pixels so that all the contents do not cross this kind of this line. All right, color white, position of relative width 60%, and then the span font size 18 pixels, and now the H1 we can increase the font size, give Anton as font family, and a bit of letter spacing, margin top, and we have the heading. I'm going to target the paragraph. We're going to give it font size 14 pixels, margin top of -35 pixels, margin bottom of 30 pixels, and this should be good. Now we're going to target the button with font family Poppins. Now if you see, this is not Poppins, so for buttons we need to add specifically the fonts. Then we have this white color, background of none, outline of none, and then a border of 1 pixel solid of yellowish color. Now we need this border radius, and display flex align items of center, something like this. Gap of 20 pixels so that we have a gap in the shop now text, and then this span which has this icon, and then padding left of 20 pixels, the icon, and we're going to give it width and height of 40 pixels since we need this in perfect circle, and a display grid, place content to center so that the icon is at the center, margin left auto so that it kind of pushes itself to the right, and then a border radius of 50%. We need a background color, and there we go. Now we're going to target the image, this side, this div, and set display flex, and then border top left radius, which is basically this curve that you see. Background of linear gradients, again we're going to copy the color and we're going to paste it, and our position of relative, since we're going to be absolutely positioning the image inside of this image div, width of 40% since text had a width of 60%. The image of the cactus, we're going to position this absolutely with height of 150%, top -40%, left -30%, and this is how it looks. Now we have this arrow as well. This arrow would be positioned absolutely with height of 80 pixels, object fit of contain, this. Now from the top we need somewhere here, so I'm going to calculate this 100% minus, let's say 110 pixels, okay, and then left 20 pixels, and this should be good. Now let's target the article. Let's bring the article back. In the article we're going to add position absolute, bottom 0, display flex, width 90% and height of 100 pixels, right 0, and border top left radius of 100 pixels, which is this curve. Now overflow needs to be hidden. Now we're going to target the article image div. We're going to give it height of 100%, width of 200 pixels, and a position of relative, since the image inside of this would be placed absolutely. We're going to give it a background of this. Let's save. Okay. Now if you don't have this overflow hidden, you wouldn't see the curve. Okay. This image, we're going to give it width and then position absolute with bottom left value, and then transform translate x -50% with object fit to contain. So you see the image at the center. we have this description. We're gonna set as display flex, width of 750 pixels, font size of 13 pixels, height, align items to center, and then padding inline as 30 pixels. A gap of 20 pixels and a background of this dark green. You also need a color, so I'm gonna set this. Font weight of 500, and we're done. Now we're gonna target the social. Width. Now this width we need to calculate this time, since the description was 750. The article image was 200, so we need to subtract 100 by 950. And then we're going to set the background with linear gradient again. You can copy the color from here. Let's paste the colors. And then we're going to add display flex with justify content center, align items to center, which would center everything. Gap of 15 pixels. And now we're going to target the anchor tags with color of white, height and width, icons at the center with display grid, place content to center, and then a border radius of 50% with a white 1 pixel solid border. Now this Twitter is a bit different, so we're going to target that using last child. We're going to set the background to white and the color to this. With that, we are done. So thanks for watching the video. I hope this video was enjoyable and I hope you had fun. You learned something new, hopefully. And so yeah, whatever you liked, whatever you disliked, make sure you write down in the description, and make sure to share your doubts if you have any. And also make sure to download the source code that is in the description. With that being said, thanks for watching the video. Meet you guys in the next video. Till then, bye bye.